Have you ever noticed that the more you chase a woman, the faster she runs? It almost feels unfair, doesn't it? A man gives her attention, affection, honesty, consistency. He shows her he cares. And somehow she becomes colder, more distant, less impressed. But then there's that other kind of man, the one who barely tries, the one who seems calm, unmoved, unbothered, the one who doesn't pour his soul out during the first week. And somehow he's the one she keeps checking her phone for. He's the one she thinks about when she wakes up. He's the one she can't quite figure out. And that mystery becomes her obsession. And every man who has lived through this moment asks the same question. Why? Why does she pull away from the man who gives her everything and chase the man who keeps part of himself hidden? Because in the psychology of attraction, the deep, ancient, primal psychology, chasing a woman is the fastest way to lose her, while hunting her, in the Machiavellian sense, is the fastest way to win her mind. But don't misunderstand. Hunting is not manipulation. Hunting is not cruelty. Hunting is not playing heartless games. Hunting is something infinitely more powerful, something modern men have forgotten, something ancient men understood by instinct. Hunting means you move with intention. You approach with intelligence, not desperation. You observe before you act. You choose her, but you do not need her. And that difference, that tiny shift in your energy, is the difference between a woman losing interest in days and a woman falling deeply under your psychological gravity. Today, you're not just going to hear advice. You're going to understand the dark, psychological truth behind why women desire one type of man and completely ignore another. You're going to understand why the nice guy gets ghosted, why the consistent guy gets taken for granted, why the emotionally open guy gets overlooked, while the man with presence, calmness, and selective energy becomes unforgettable. This is not typical dating advice. Typical advice is boring, predictable, recycled. This is Machiavellian Dark Psychology, intertwined with Stoic emotional mastery, sharpened with real male experience from real men in real relationships, men in New York, London, Toronto, Sydney, men who learned the hard way that in the modern dating world attention is cheap, but presence is priceless. If you've ever been ignored, if you've ever been ghosted, if you've ever been used for your energy, your kindness, your affection, if you've ever felt like you were giving everything and getting nothing, what you're about to hear will feel like a slap of truth. A truth most men never learn until it's too late. But today, you learn it early. Today, you take back your power. Let's begin. Point 1. Chasing destroys your value, hunting increases it. Most men don't realize this. But a woman doesn't judge you by your words. She judges you by your energy. And the moment you chase her, when you're double texting, over-explaining, waiting for her message like it's oxygen, canceling your plans just to prove you care, she instantly feels one thing. This man needs me more than I need him. And once that dynamic forms, attraction collapses. Chasing makes you look like a man without options. A man who can be controlled. A man who puts her at the center of his world and before she's earned that position. But hunting is completely different. Hunting means moving with strategy, calm, and purpose. Like a man who values himself above everything else. A hunter doesn't beg. He doesn't rush. He doesn't try to impress. He studies. He observes. He evaluates. He sees a woman's patterns, her preferences, her defenses, her desires, and then he moves with intention. You're not chasing her energy. You're making her feel yours. You're not demanding attention, yet you're creating gravity. Chasing is emotional desperation. Hunting is emotional presence. Chasing says, choose me. Hunting says, I choose intentionally and I'm not afraid to walk away. This is the energy women in cities like New York, London, Sydney, or Toronto respond to. Not the man begging for a chance, but the man who knows he is the chance. Point 2. Women aren't attracted to effort. They're attracted to mystery. Here's a truth most men hate. A woman isn't attracted to the man who tells her everything about himself. She's attracted to the man she cannot fully understand. When you chase her, you expose your whole soul immediately. I really like you. I'm ready for something serious. I think we're perfect together. To you, these feel honest. To her, these feel predictable. But the man who hunts, he doesn't reveal everything at once. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't emotionally vomit his entire past. He speaks slowly. He reveals carefully. He shares only what needs to be shared. Women fall for the man who makes them wonder, not the man who makes them comfortable. Mystery activates feminine imagination. Chasing activates feminine boredom. It's why Emily in Los Angeles will ignore 15 men who text her nonstop. But she'll think about the one guy who replies calmly, confidently, without emotional diarrhea. Mystery does not mean manipulation. It means you control your energy instead of giving it away like charity. Men who chase seek validation. Men who hunt create intrigue. And intrigue is the mother of attraction. Point 3, chasing gives her power. Hunting gives you leverage. The moment you chase a woman, you hand her the psychological throne. Without saying a word, you tell her, "You are the prize. I am the applicant." You shift the power in her favor. And when a woman feels too much power in dating, she doesn't feel safe, she feels unimpressed. Women don't want a servant. They want a man whose attention means something. But hunting flips the dynamic. A hunter doesn't pursue blindly. He evaluates, is she feminine? Is she respectful? Emotionally stable? Is she worth my time and peace? You are not chasing her, you are assessing her. This gives you leverage, because women can feel when a man sees himself as the prize. He's not seeking approval, he's deciding compatibility. And suddenly she starts texting first, asking questions, investing effort, trying to earn his interest. Because women desire the man whose approval is meaningful, not automatic. Point 4, the more you chase, the more she tests you. Here's the brutal paradox most men never understand. The moment you start chasing a woman, she stops valuing you. Not because she's cruel, not because she's manipulative, not because she wants to play games. She pulls back for one reason. Chasing signals weakness, and weakness triggers feminine testing. A woman doesn't test the man who is centered. A woman tests the man who is slipping. And when you chase, you're slipping. Every time you double text, every time you ask why she's distant, every time you desperately try to pull her closer, you're telling her one thing: I need you more than I need my self-respect. And the feminine spirit is wired to challenge that, not out of malice and out of instinct. Women test because they are trying to feel your depth, your control, your emotional sovereignty. They want to know if your confidence is real or fragile, if your masculinity is grounded or performative, if your interest is strength or dependent. And here's what happens next. She delays replies. She becomes colder. She gets unpredictable. She pulls away to think. If you panic, she knows. If you chase harder, she knows. If you complain, she knows. And once she knows your emotions are dependent on her behavior, something inside her quietly shuts down. Respect fades. Attraction weakens. Interest dissolves. Because a man who can be emotionally manipulated is a man she can't feel safe with. But a hunter operates differently. A hunter moves with discipline. He understands pacing. He understands timing. He understands emotional strategy. He understands the rhythm of the feminine heart. He knows a woman's tests aren't attacks. They're invitations. Invitations to show his emotional steadiness. Invitations to reveal his inner strength. Invitations to demonstrate that he is the mountain, not the wind. A hunter knows that when she pulls away, the worst thing he can do is collapse inward. He doesn't chase. He doesn't cling. He doesn't beg for reassurance. He doesn't suddenly change his entire emotional state just because she changed hers. When Sarah in Manchester pulls away to think, the average man spirals internally. He starts overthinking. He imagines losing her. He starts crafting long emotional texts. He asks for clarity. He tries to pull her closer with more attention, more affection, more energy. And every drop of that energy pushes her further away. But the hunter, he pauses. He breathes. He steps back with calm purpose. Not as a tactic, but as a reflection of who he is. His world continues. His purpose continues. His discipline continues. His emotional center stays intact. He doesn't match her distance with anger. He matches her distance with self-respect. He gives space, not from fear, but from strength. He responds when needed without urgency. He lets silence work in his favor. And women feel this difference at a cellular level. A chaser reacts. A hunter holds. A chaser collapses. A hunter observes. A chaser fears losing her. A hunter knows he can lose her and still remain whole. Women can sense which man you are without a single word being spoken. Because emotional maturity is a currency more powerful than looks, money, or charm. It is the quiet force that makes a woman feel calm in your presence. It is the groundedness that makes her soften around you. It is the inner stability that makes her chase you back even after she pulled away. A woman tests to see who you really are underneath the surface. Are you centered? Or are you desperate? Are you independent? Or are you emotionally needy? Are you a leader of your own life? Or are you waiting for her to guide your emotional state? Men lose women not because they're bad men, but because they collapse under feminine pressure. Women aren't drawn to perfection. They're drawn to steadiness. And steadiness is what the hunter embodies. He is the man who says without words, "Your behavior does not control my inner world. I desire you, but I don't depend on you. I care for you, but I do not chase you." And that is the moment she feels it. The shift. The presence. The strength. The calm certainty. Because the hunter doesn't lose himself trying to keep a woman. And that is exactly why women feel magnetically drawn to him, even when they try to pull away. Point 5. Chasing makes you replaceable. Hunting makes you memorable. Every woman today gets chased. In her Instagram DMs, in her dating apps, in her Snapchat. Everywhere. Men bent over backwards trying to impress her, saying, "You're gorgeous. I'd do anything for you. You're my dream girl." So when you chase, you become just another blurry face in the crowd. But the man who hunts, he becomes unforgettable because he behaves unlike every other man she's met. He respects himself. He doesn't over-prioritize her. He doesn't act desperate. He moves with intention. He has emotional discipline. He's willing to walk away. He makes her earn parts of him. This is the man Olivia in Toronto cannot stop thinking about. Women don't remember the men who chased them, but they never forget the man who didn't need them, yet still chose them intentionally. Hunting makes you rare, and rarity is irresistible. Point 6. Chasing is emotional neglect of yourself. Men think chasing a woman is romantic. It's not. It's abandonment, but not abandonment of her. It's abandonment of yourself. When you chase, you stop focusing on your purpose, your mission, your goals, your health, your discipline, your value, your growth. You make her the center of your universe, but a high-value man's universe is built around purpose, not pursuit. When a man hunts, he doesn't stop his life for a woman. He builds a life so powerful that she wants to be part of it. You chase to feel worthy. You hunt because you already know you are. You chase because you're empty. You hunt because you're full. You chase because you fear losing her. You hunt because you don't fear losing anyone. This is Stoic masculinity. This is Machiavellian clarity. This is what makes a man truly magnetic. Point 7. Chasing is emotional anxiety. Hunting is emotional mastery. Let's tell the truth without sugarcoating it. Chasing a woman doesn't make you desirable. It doesn't make her respect you. It doesn't make her feel attraction. What chasing does is turn you into a slave to her responses. One slow reply ruins your night. One unread message destroys your focus. One cold text, one delayed reaction, one vague tone. And suddenly your mind is spiraling. You're overthinking. You're second-guessing. You're panicking. That's not attraction. That's addiction. You're not chasing her. You're chasing certainty. You're not building desire. You're building dependency. You're not standing tall. You're bending yourself to fit her mood. Now imagine the opposite. Hunting is completely different. Hunting is emotional mastery. Hunting is knowing your worth so deeply that her behavior cannot destabilize you. A hunter remains grounded whether she comes closer or pulls away. Whether she texts back immediately or takes hours. Whether she seems warm or distant. He does not need guarantees. He does not need constant reassurance. He does not seek validation from her approval. He relies on one thing only: his own control over his emotions, his own clarity of purpose, his own presence in the world, his own masculine stability, unwavering and calm. This is magnetic. This is irresistible. Because in a sea of men who crumble over a single unread text, the man who remains calm, composed, and self-contained becomes a psychological obsession. Women are drawn to emotional stability because it signals safety, power, and authenticity. They sense a man who cannot be shaken, and that energy triggers desire at the subconscious level. Hunting isn't about playing manipulative games. It's not pretending to be unavailable. It's not trying to trick her. It's about mastering yourself so thoroughly that your energy alone becomes irresistible. Your calmness speaks volumes louder than any words ever could. You're not a storm raging around her. You are the eye of the storm still. strong, in control, and powerful. And women recognize that immediately, even if they can't explain it, even if they don't understand why they feel pulled toward you, even if they resist at first, that energy lingers. And eventually it dominates their attention. This is the ultimate power of hunting. When you achieve emotional mastery, you no longer chase reactions. You no longer bend to moods. You no longer need permission to exist in her life. Instead, you attract her organically, effortlessly, naturally, because mastery over yourself creates a gravity women cannot resist. And in a world filled with men who crumble emotionally at the first sign of distance, the hunter is the man she can't stop thinking about, the man she feels she needs, without ever admitting it. This is where stoic self-control meets Machiavellian strategy. This is where patience, purpose, and power converge. And once you reach this state, chasing becomes obsolete, and women chase you. You are not reacting. You are acting. You are not following. You are leading. You are not desperate. You are chosen. That is the difference between the man who is forgettable and the man who is unforgettable. Conclusion: the Machiavellian truth. Here's the truth most men never learn. Not because it's hidden, but because it requires a level of self-respect most men never build. A woman doesn't fall in love because you chase her. She doesn't fall in love because you constantly remind her how much you care. She doesn't fall in love because you sacrifice your time, your peace, your identity just to win her attention. She falls in love because she feels something in you that she doesn't feel in other men. Strength, intention, emotional power, a grounded presence that cannot be shaken. She does not want the man who runs behind her. In fact, she loses respect for him, not because she's cruel, but because something deep in her psychology whispers, if he is chasing me, he must not have anything else worth chasing. She wants the man who moves through life with purpose, a man whose world is already full, already meaningful, already disciplined. She wants the man who chooses her not out of loneliness, not out of fear, not out of emotional dependence, but because he decided she earned a place in his life. Chasing kills the spark because chasing is fear. Hunting awakens the spark because hunting is power. Chasing is insecurity dressed up as affection. Hunting is confidence expressed through patience. Chasing says, I'm afraid to lose you. Hunting says, I know my value and I move accordingly. When you chase, you shrink yourself to fit her desires. When you hunt, you expand your presence and she naturally gravitates toward it. When you chase, you lose control of your emotions. When you hunt, you master them. And emotional mastery is the rarest currency in the modern world. Understand this deeply. Women don't fall for the man who gives them everything. They fall for the man who gives himself to his mission first and invites her into a life of strength, structure, and purpose. They fall for the man who is selective. They fall for the man who can walk away. They fall for the man they must rise up to meet, not the man who lowers himself to be chosen. Be the man who hunts with intention, not the man who chases with insecurity. Because once you master this shift, once you stop leaking your energy, once you stop begging for attention, once you stop proving your worth and start living it, women will feel something around you they rarely feel around modern men. A natural respect that isn't forced, a deep desire that isn't manipulated, a curiosity that keeps growing, a pull they can't intellectualize, explain, or control. They won't just like you. They won't just want you. They will feel you. And that is where true attraction lives. Become the man whose presence makes chasing unnecessary, because the man who hunts with purpose is the man women pursue in silence. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.